Where arts and adventure summits the airwaves. This is the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. I'm R. Brandon Long, along with the greatest co-host in all the land, Todd Oberndorfer. We have the third greatest co-host in all the land, Kase, who hosts his own show.
Second greatest co-host. If you're the first.
And a sea filler. A sea filler.
We are your hosts for the greatest podcast in all the land. This is the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. So we do have Kase Johnstun. He's pretending to be an author tonight on the arts side of things. And then we have Heather. I didn't catch your last name, so I didn't write it down.
Heather Bird.
Heather Bird. That's right. B-I-R-D. Yep. Unless it's B-Y.
Nope.
We got something crazy.
Just like a bird.
Okay. Just like a bird.
Just like Larry.
Heather Bird, AmaZing Z, run for Down syndrome. And this is sort of a collab. I don't know about collab, but at least, Kase was helping out, from what I understand, a little bit.
We buy the pizzas.
You buy the pizzas.
Yeah, that's
okay.
it.
No, Kase is one of the reasons it's even exists.
Okay. Well, good. Should we start there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's start there. Heather, what is the AmaZing Z run for Down syndrome? And we have Zeke here.
Yeah.
Zeke is here. Zeke is your son?
Yeah. Zeke is my son. He's 7. He has Down syndrome. And the run is a 3.21K, which is important because Down syndrome occurs when there are 3 copies of the 21st chromosome.
Wow.
So most of us only have 2 copies of every chromosome. Zeke has 3 copies of the 21st.
Okay.
And World Down Syndrome Day is on March 21st, 3/21, because of that.
Okay.
And so we host this race, run, walk. It's really just a fun run.
Yeah.
Every year, either on World Down Syndrome Day or around the day, to raise money for a couple organizations that support people with Down syndrome.
How old, Zeke?
7.
7. Okay, so the money, when you raise the funding for, what's it go towards?
So the first organization is called Ruby's Rainbow, and they provide scholarships to adults with Down syndrome that are going to college. And they're pretty significant.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's different levels, I guess. Like some Down syndrome kids can go to college. Can all go to college, or how does that work?
It's just like anybody else.
Okay.
I mean, it's unlike autism. Down syndrome is not a spectrum. You either have an extra chromosome or you don't.
Gotcha.
But there may be various levels of ability, just like any other person. So some go to college. I think people are pretty surprised to hear that. I think I was probably pretty surprised when I heard that. We didn't know Zeke had Down syndrome until he was born, and when they tell you, we think your son has Down syndrome, it's not always the best, the most positive information that they're giving you. I mean, they're telling you all the potential medical problems and all the delays he's going to have and all the gazillion therapies you're going to have to do. And
you just had a baby.
Right.
And
you just want to hear congratulations, right?
Right. And then they hit you with all this information, and that's a little stressful.
Right. So, yeah, it was hard, and we were getting just bombarded with all this, frankly, negative stuff. And I came across Ruby's Rainbow, and they were posting story after story of all these kids and adults with Down syndrome doing all kinds of amazing things. I mean, following their dreams, accomplishing goals, just like the rest of us. And so I knew I just wanted to be able to give back to them because, they're doing important work and,
So the race is a fundraiser. And what's the date again? On 3?
This year it's on March 26th.
26th. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do people get involved, and can anybody run it, or what?
Yep. Anybody can run it. You can go to amazingz.org to register. The registration fee is also $21 for the 21st chromosome. We hold it at St. Joseph Catholic High School. The run starts in the parking lot and goes along a trail at the base of the mountain. So it's a pretty run, and
that's such a great spot.
it's awesome. Yeah.
And not just because it's just up the street, although that helps.
Yeah.
From where you're at.
Yeah, exactly. I love that spot. Great choice. Great choice
Thank
of
you.
locations.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's only 2 miles, so anybody can do it. You can walk 2 miles. You can run it if you're a runner.
Now, how many times what edition is this year?
7th.
7th.
Oh, it's been doing it a
Each year.
while.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what's changed? What's evolved? What's the plan for this year that you didn't do last year?
It's really been 7 years.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We Zeke was 1 the first time we did it. So yeah, this is the 7th year. One of the things that's changed this year is we will have a DJ. So Zeke loves to dance and he doesn't really love to run. So I was like, we might as well get a DJ and have a little dance party after. And so that's one thing that's changed. I mean, it's kind of evolved over the years. The first year.
Does Zeke like ice cream?
Yes,
I want to see it evolve, all these things that he likes. There's an ice cream truck now. He's got a DJ now.
Yep.
There's a petting zoo up here next year.
Space shuttle.
Yep.
I'm loving the direction.
That's kind of my vision. Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. We also donate to a second organization that's called Reese's Rainbow. Just coincidence that they both had rainbow in the name, but Reese's Rainbow donates money to, they provide grants to families who are adopting kids with special needs internationally. So that first year we had raised enough money to provide a scholarship to an adult through Ruby's Rainbow. And then I came across a post of a family that was raising money for an adoption, and their son was the exact same age as Zeke. And it just broke my heart thinking that, if Zeke was in an orphanage for the first year of his life. And so we've been able to donate to 6 families over the last 6 years that have adopted kids with Down syndrome from Ukraine, China, India. I think those are the 3.
That's angels. Those people are angels.
Yeah.
What?
So clearly when you started this program, you knew exactly what you were doing. Right? I always like to hear about those initial steps where, especially after 7 years of successes, and these are amazing stories, success stories. But if we were to go back to that very first one, what'd you learn right away? Like, obviously you made it to year 2, so that was great. But I want to hear about that first year.
Kase was really instrumental in the first year, honestly. Kase is Zeke's godfather. I just had this idea that I wanted to raise some money for Ruby's Rainbow. If you raise enough money, then they'll grant somebody's scholarship in your name. So we could grant one in Zeke's name. We get to meet the recipient and all this. But I was like, there's no way we're going to raise enough money the first year. And I was on the board of Ogden Pub Runners at the time with Kase, and he said, well, even if we just have a few of us, like at least it's a couple $100, so let's just do it. So we thought, even if only 5 of us show up.
I love that about Kase, by the way. He just does things, just goes for it.
Yep. And we did. We just went for it, and it wasn't 5 people. It's $3,000 you have to raise for a scholarship. We raised over 3,000, and that's where the excess went to Reese's Rainbow for the adoption. So
I love that the square root of so much goodness in this town has been the pub runners group of people.
Absolutely.
There's something very special about that group right there. I think maybe it has to do with this right
with the
here,
beer.
but there is something special with that group.
You got to lubricate it up a little bit,
so you can. So with the success of year 1 and raising that $3,000, that sort of magical number that you're like, there's no way I can get to that number, and so does that mean that you immediately knew that you wanted to do again, or is this something that is it become more and more of your life each year?
Yeah, it has. Well, and I always, we always want to beat our previous year.
Of
so
course.
It's kind of a goal.
Yeah.
But the first year, I handmade race medals, and we've evolved to have real race medals and real shirts. And, the first year was just thrown together, but we've, evolved in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
How special is a homemade medal? That's amazing.
I know.
I love
I'm almost
so
like,
much.
Time to go back to that.
Well, and
I know, I might have to.
and I wear my gear. It's always good looking. So,
Oh, so that's a
Z.
t-shirt. Yeah, Z, AmaZing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good looking hoodie. I love that.
I got one underneath, different design, but.
Of course you do.
So it's the AmaZing Z, like Z, AmaZing, Z, Run for Down Syndrome. Zeke have brothers and sisters?
Yep. He has 3 older brothers.
Older brothers.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you were used to at least having kids at first.
Yeah.
So that was good, because the experience of having now, because that's daunting. So if your first child is Down syndrome, that's probably a little bit added, not knowing what the heck you're doing as a
Right.
first time parent. So
Yeah.
at least you weren't a first time parent. But I thought there were tests that they did prior to someone being born that you would know in advance if your child was down. But I guess not.
No, they do. You
They
can.
do.
Yep.
But sometimes they don't catch it, I guess.
Well, we didn't test.
Oh, you
so,
didn't test. Got you. Okay.
They'll usually catch it. I mean,
Okay.
I guess there's a chance that they won't. I mean, there's certain countries that everybody does it, and then there's a
Gotcha.
few like false negatives. But no, I mean, we didn't test, and we said, I mean, so what if they come
'Cause
back and tell us he has Down syndrome?
Yeah, it's
What
not
are we
going
gonna do?
to change your mind anyway. So.
And the doctors tell you. He said the only reason to do it is if you're going to terminate, which we're not,
Yeah.
or if you just want time to prepare. And
Sure.
we didn't even. I mean, it's historically, often it's with older parents. So if you're over 35, then they'll suggest to be to have the test. But it happens more and more often now with first time moms and younger moms. And so I mean, it wasn't even really a conversation for us. It was just, do you want to do prenatal testing? And we didn't. So
All right. So Todd was talking about this movie the other day about the snowboarder who hit his head. He was the one competing with Flying Tomato. What's his name? At the time, Sean White. Sean White. He was, and he hit it. Remember, and he hit his head on a ramp in Park City.
Right.
And
Yes.
but in his family, he had a Down syndrome brother who was very supportive, and it was a blessing. And the kid was a uber athlete, right? And then, but having that grounding personality in the home was helpful after his injury. So I'm just wondering, what's it like living? Zeke's got brothers, and how do the brothers help the community or the inside the house and that little unit there become helpful to everyone, I guess.
yeah, I mean, they help out. His oldest brother Ricky. I mean, he loves him, and he'll get him to. He can get Zeke to talk more than the rest of us can. He'll get him to, play ball and all that kind of stuff. But really, I would say it's the reverse. Zeke's kind of taught our family more than the rest of us have really taught him.
Sure,
Just
yeah.
to enjoy the little things and
That was
slow
sort of
down.
where I was going with that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it takes him a lot longer to do, things that come quickly to other kids, and so every little thing is a big celebration, and it's just taught us to enjoy the little things and slow down and enjoy life. And sometimes it's frustrating when you're trying to walk up the hill in the wind and you're like, come on, kid.
Oh man,
But
yeah.
And there are fish being thrown.
throwing his fish around and
That's for everybody.
Yeah.
yep.
When people start throwing fish, it's out the door.
His
Like the
favorite,
candy fish, like the
no,
cracker fish, or like real. What are you talking about? Real fish?
his favorite thing are these. They're actually pool toys, like dive toys. They're these little flimsy fish that flip when you put them in the water, and he uses them kind of as like a sensory toy. So he just shakes them. We have tons of them, and
Well, the advent of fidgets. I mean, they're everywhere. Do those?
Yeah.
Does he like those?
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
he has a lot of
most
sensory
kids do,
needs,
but-
but yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So when you raise the money for the nonprofits, and how does the money help a family? Like, what does that do for somebody like you?
So the families that we give it to, in particular, we've raised a ton of money for individual families that are going through the adoption process. So it's roughly $40,000 to do an international adoption for special needs children.
Yeah, that's not
So-
cheap.
No. So it's helped them a ton. They're all doing all kinds of fundraisers all the time. So when we can walk up and say, here's $8-10 and, they're always in shock that, most of the times, I mean, in all cases, I didn't know the family before we donated to them. And so then we become, close, and they can't believe that we would just as a stranger offer this much,
Have you stayed in contact with some of these people?
Yeah. The second little girl that we donated to, her name's Hannah. She was adopted from China. She came to the third race, and they're coming again this year, I think. So, and in fact, Zeke's in a little theater program in Centerville, and she's also in the same program with them. So we get to see her, every week. So it's fun.
Are there countries that have kids that get adopted more than other countries? I guess because China is, we don't really know what goes on over there necessarily, but I guess are they like trying to ship out Down syndrome? Is that what they're literally doing over there?
I don't know that I'd say they're trying to ship them out. They're either, it's not really accepted in society to keep a kid with Down syndrome. Even if a parent wants to. It sounds
so harsh. I
know it does. Ugh. It's awful, but some parents really do want to keep their child, but they're just not set up that way. If they have a lot of medical issues, they just can't afford it. So sometimes it's a financial or a, medical needs that prompt them to have to give their child up. Other times it's just, it's just not something that's accepted. And so there are a lot of orphanages that are full of kids with Down syndrome. I know of a family I know families that have adopted from Bulgaria. Ukraine's pretty common. China's common. The person we donated to last year just adopted a little girl from India.
And what's the age range? Like, is there a cutoff, or it doesn't matter, or how does that work?
It doesn't really matter. I think it's pretty common for families that are adopting to want a baby. But there's kids at all ages over there. And it's really sad. In some orphanages, some kids, if they're over full, if they're filling up, if the kid hits 5, I think it is in some cases, they'll put them in an adult institution. So, you look at Zeke's 7, he's pretty small for a 7-year-old. He kind of looks like a toddler, and then they're taking 5-year-olds and putting them in, just because they don't have the space. And so, yeah.
Speaking of Zeke, we got to get to know Zeke just a little bit better. So I think I would like to ask a question of his godfather here. You got to tell me a Zeke story. Give me a Zeke story. It can be, related to this run, this fundraiser, or it could be related to pool toys.
Because Zeke is here, but he's busy.
Yeah,
he's busy.
Exactly. I would be more than happy to hang with him. Yeah.
How's he doing? Good.
He's got his fish. He's good.
He's got his fish.
Sure. Let's go. Yeah, like this. Well, I want to talk about the dance company.
Oh, yes.
Show from Christmas.
Oh, yeah. That's the one that Hannah's in. Hannah's doing it with him this next year. So.
Yeah. Zeke was also throwing things that day, from stage.
Yes, he was.
So, but of course, to great applause.
Of course.
Yeah, to great applause. But it was
3D. It was a 3D program is what it was.
It was 3D.
Yeah. People pay a lot of money for that.
You get in the front row, you get a fish tossed your way. No, it was fabulous, and it was really, really cool to see because they take a lot of time with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of time. Like they start rehearsing for quite a while.
Yeah, when the school year starts, they start. So it was early September for the Christmas show.
Yeah,
once a week.
It's like singing and dancing, or what's the
and fish.
And fish.
Well,
actually,
like the octopus in Love Actually. First octopus.
Yeah.
Yes. Funny that you say that because the spring show is Finding Nemo. And Zeke will be thrilled. Yeah. Last Christmas was
He's
Elf,
thrilled. He's actually the one that's programming it.
Yes,
I see it.
Yeah. The director. But they're going to change the name. Finding and Tossing Nemo.
Yeah, of course.
Jeez.
Nemo grows up a little faster.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That just all coming off him throwing fish on the way in. Because Heather's the first thing she said was, he keeps throwing his fish. So.
I'm so glad that he's actually playing with them right now.
Yeah.
Wish we could all see that right now. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't have a camera out there, unfortunately, but maybe you'll bring him in here. And
I thought so. Like you bring him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So what can we do?
Tell people to participate, right?
Yeah. You can register at amazingz.org. And all the information's there. And
it's fun. Last year was big. And Heather's got such an amazing support crew of friends and family that really put together this. Last year felt like a really big event. Even that was just 1 year after the COVID year. What did we do during the COVID year?
We didn't, because it fell, that year we were doing it on World Down Syndrome Day, so it was the 21st. And
it was right there. Yeah, that's right.
Which sucked. And then the second year we decided not to do it too. I think there was a surge of COVID or something, so we didn't do it.
21.
Mm-hmm. So last year was the first year back.
Was it really? Yeah.
And it was snowy and cold and awful, but
Yeah, but it worked.
they let us use the gym at St. Joe, which was great.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
and tons of people came still. So, yeah.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah, it was great.
It probably might be snowy this year
Maybe.
or rainy.
Let's hope not.
I know.
It's gonna go like this, like 40s and 50s, rain, snow, and then June's gonna hit and it's gonna be 90, and we're not gonna know what to do with ourselves.
Right.
Welcome to Utah.
Yeah, it's a fun event. Register, come out, run a little bit. There's always been the range of runners from 2-year-olds to Mrs. J,
It's at
Mrs.
length
J,
that
80-something.
anyone can do. You can walk.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
There's lots of
absolutely.
walkers,
Lots of
lots of little
walkers.
kids. I mean, it's really fun for the kids because everybody gets a race medal, so they love it, and
And it's such a closed course that the kids can just go and
yeah.
nobody really worries about them, because it's just out on the.
It's not a road, right?
Yeah, it's a utility trail behind the high school,
Utility trail. Okay.
which is always blocked off.
Is that dirt?
Yeah,
Okay.
but not crazy,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really really nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a raffle after. I mean, people hang out after, eat pizza. We do a raffle. We'll have the DJ this time. So it's just kind of, fun hanging out. See some of the kids with Down syndrome that have been adopted. And
So now that you're an events manager, you want to do more events, or is one enough? One and done. One a year.
I've thought about doing something in October because October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. But my life's a little busy right now. So
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward
Don't
to
add
it
it.
too soon. But
Events are so much work.
yeah.
There's a lot of planning that goes into them, and so it's these race directors that have multiple races that they do. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So,
I love planning it, but
but it's addicting, and so
Yeah.
it's fun when it's over. You're like, that was such a great thing, and then you want to do more, just not right now.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you thought like, oh, maybe I'm good at this. Maybe we should do more of that. I don't know.
yeah. No, I have thought about, with the whole doing what Zeke likes, I'm like, I'm going to just create a big dance party in October instead of a run. And
Yeah.
maybe it will evolve over time. Zeke's birthday is also in October. So I'm like, it could just be a birthday party, but
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
yeah.
I would love a big dance party.
know.
That would be great.
Great.
I think we could find a spot in this very building for something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what a treat. That would be great. Oh, I can't wait to see what the DJ. Did you have a DJ last year, you said?
No, we haven't had a DJ.
So this is the
yet.
first year
This
with
is
the
first
DJ.
year
Okay,
with
that's
the
going to be a
DJ.
ball to see.
They
gonna
did.
come hang
Zeke's school, he goes to, he's just in a traditional kindergarten class that doesn't have a lot of special ed resources, actually none. And so he's the only kid in the school with Down syndrome. And so they did they wear uniforms, but they did a fundraiser for this event where they could wear free dress if they, paid $3 or something. But on that day, they decided to do a dance party for him during recess in the gym. And they just, blasted music through a speaker, but he loved it. So
You should ask Clay to do that.
yeah.
The free dress thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, kids will pay for that stuff.
I know.
Yeah, or have them do the highest bidder. They could be the freest dresser. I don't know.
Yeah.
They'll pay a lot of.
The freest.
Yeah,
You get to wear the
What is the
crazies.
freest dress?
I don't know, but they'll pay for it. You should ask Clay because it's at the high school,
Yeah.
and we could put up posters at the. Well, it's coming around the corner.
Yeah, it is. But
But they easily every Friday just say $3 for free dress. It goes
Yeah.
to this. Kids will pay.
yeah,
Could
they
be
do.
extra
Yeah.
money.
This is the
kids
planning the event section of the show.
Yeah, we just do it. We just do it right on the
Just take-
podcast.
Yeah.
Kids
Any other
love
questions?
dress
Yeah,
down.
we'll take care of it.
By
Yeah.
the way, our kid goes to play. You pay $1, you dress down, and it always is for some fundraiser or something. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
this would be for Zeke's, and
Right.
then you just
Yeah. Yeah.
see that works.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm so glad you came in today. I'm so glad we met
Thanks
you.
for
and
having
Zeke.
me. I know. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a website? How do we find more information?
Yep. AmazingZ.org.
Oh, that's easy. Amazing. How'd you get that one? Amazing, and then a Z.
Yep.
.org. Wow,
Yeah.
nice. Good
Yeah.
job.
Thanks. I don't know.
Yeah.
AmazingZ.com, I think, was probably taken, but we went with org anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
might as well.
Yeah.
Heather, if he feels like coming in later, have him come in so that he can do whatever he wants. It's Zeke's day.
Yeah,
We're just here to entertain.
and everybody wants to see the fish.
I'll bring him in.
Yeah,
Let me
that
grab
is
it.
Yeah,
Very
we want to see the fish. Kase, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, I got my high High Point beer.
Your High Point beer. Yeah, I appreciate you bringing enough for all of us too. By the way,
Heineken. Ooh.
Heineken. Ooh.
Ooh. So what inspired Heineken? Ooh, or have you been on the ooh side for a while?
I was on the ooh side for all of January and most of February.
Yeah. So it's just continued.
Yeah.
You like how you feel?
Yeah. I mean, last week I was in Seattle with a bunch of riders for 6 days, and so I felt a little different. But this is getting back into that.
There's choices. I think on that exact.
Oh, he wants to watch his show. Is the show out there?
There's a star.
Oh yeah, the show's out there. That's why.
There's a star. Hey,
So we saw the fish. We saw Zeke.
we got Z on camera too.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's a wrap. He's out.
Oh, he peace out.
He's out.
He doesn't want to come in here.
The star has left the trailer.
I did not want to come in here in the first place.
That's fine.
Normally people want to come in the trailer. So he's one of the rare who's like, nope, not for me.
But this discussion of non-alcoholic beers has been on people's, that it's been a source of conversation, I should say. And so and I think it's spurred from, what's the no drink, what month is it? Is it January?
January.
Yeah, dry
right?
January.
Dry January. And so sometimes that turns into February and March, depending on how you feel. And so I was purchasing some at the store, and
what'd you go with?
Didn't know what. Well, they were out of the two that I was really going for, which Lagunitas makes a good IPA or whatever their version of. It's some cute name. There's some reference to no PA or something. I can't remember. And then Heineken one sells pretty well. There's choices now is basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah, people love Athletic.
Well, so Thursday.
Athletic is a good one too. Yeah.
Thursday upstairs here at the Monarch this week is the trail mixer for
that's right.
Trails Foundation Northern Utah, and Athletic donated a bunch of nonprofit beer. So if you want to
nonprofit beer,
nonprofit
is on
beer,
the brain,
non-alcoholic beer. So if you would like to try the Athletic,
that one's very popular.
It's very it's good too. It's really, really good. Yeah, during the week.
All right, tell me about AWP. You're an author. You got books. You go to these things. This is a conference for writers.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
What's that stand for?
Association of Writers and Writing Programs.
Writing programs. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they all like professors, or is it just?
There's a big chunk that are. Yeah.
Okay.
They get paid to go.
Oh. Okay.
For writing programs. So if they're a creative writing teacher, they'll get paid to go. But then I would say more than half are just writers. They're just writers. Doing other things in life and writing at the same time is what I mean.
Is there a standard, like you have to have a certain thing published?
No.
Whatever, can anybody go?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah. No, when I first went, I had nothing.
Okay.
It's different though. It's different when you go through and you're not stressed out. Like before, it was like you're there. So they have this place called.
Wait, why would you be stressed?
Well, they have this thing called the Book Fair, and it's like massive, and they've got like 400 publishers in there, and you feel like you're supposed to go out there and like pitch your books.
So it's like a portfolio review, or something like that.
And to be honest, the publishers really aren't looking for writers. You find that
this
out
has got to
later.
be like their worst weekend ever.
Yeah, well, no, they love it because they sell things.
Okay.
But. Like back then, I was like, oh man, I got to talk to people. I got to network. This time, I just grab a glass of wine, walk through the book fair, and pick up some stickers. And
was it more productive this time?
No, not at all. But it's a totally different vibe. Like I was able to go to like my publisher's table and just sit there, and people would come by, and I would of course sell everybody. My book was out front, and I tried to sell everybody else's book. I was like, "Do you have any ideas?" I'm like, "Well, this book over here is fantastic," and it wasn't mine. I was like, try this and try this. But it's really different when you feel like I'm not here to sell myself. I'm just here to meet friends. I talked with friends from graduate school from more than a decade ago, and go to dinner, and I had a couple book signings, and I was on a panel. So it's a lot different than it was a decade ago when I went and I didn't really have what I have now.
What do writers get out of it in the end?
Community. I think it's more community than anything.
Okay.
You might get lucky and have a journal or a publisher say, "Oh, send me your stuff," and they might take it. But that's hard.
But you're not like
that's like
reading sections of your book.
No. You're just cold.
Yeah.
You're basically cold calling up there at booths. Yeah. And I was never good at that. They're like, what are you writing? And I would say, oh, nothing. And then I'd walk away, That's just me. And so
you're a good salesperson.
Yeah, I'm great. Yes.
We're all kind of seeing that now.
I know. I'm such a businessman. But it's really chill now. I just go for the community. Well, I'm on panels now and have signings now, which is really, really nice.
What was your panel? What was the topic?
So we've done this one for 4 years in a row, and
keeping it fresh.
Yeah. So we're looking to do something next year, and I wasn't going to go next year, but it's going to be in Kansas City, and I got to go to Kansas City.
Kansas City's great. That's where I'm from. Did you know that's where?
No, I didn't know that. Yeah,
Kansas City's a great place.
Great city, and my wife and son are going to go with me for half the time because her family's just south. So I'm like, well, we all got to go this time, and so this one was on pedagogy, and this was
hot topic.
Yeah, it's fed. Well, that's how you get in. You talk. You pitch something about
throw
pedagogy.
those right words.
Yeah,
you pull them out of a hat.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of those words.
Yeah, you pick a panel about pedagogy. You're in every year, and
and you end up talking about something else. But that is the topic.
So the one that we've been doing. So we just came out with a book. I'm not on the spine, but I have 2 chapters about using the pedagogy and. Another word starts with a P. This is what I do with my students all day long. What? Pedagogy?
I don't know.
Starts with a P.
I didn't study the vocabulary.
No, it starts with a P and ends with an oddcast.
Oh, podcasting.
Yeah,
wow.
That's the same thing. Yeah. That's what I do with my students all the time. They're like, that joke's old. But
ends with oddcast.
So using the podcast in the creative writing classroom. That's what we've been doing for 4 years, and we always.
That's very timely.
Oh, that's so cool. And you're experienced.
So Lee Camacho O'Rourke's.
Yeah.
She's on the spine. Her and Saul. So that's her book.
Okay.
Because she's very academic.
Well,
we get up to the panel and it's always like this. Tonight we'd like to introduce our guests. We have Dr. Kase.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's just me, because they're all PhDs and teaching at the university, and there's.
But
are they all podcasters though?
Yeah.
No.
See,
none are.
That's where you were the expert.
Yeah, Lee kind of, but she was just us.
Lee was a guest on a few episodes, and I wish she would come back because she's a doctor. Then she's got the doctor thing going on. Well,
you can tell.
So, she
gets serious.
You can tell, but she uses the right words, and she frames things correctly, and she asks the right questions.
Yeah.
And so this is the Bourbon Beer and Books podcast that Kase hosts with Sean, or Sean's host with you, and however that goes. But and then she was a co-host on
for a few,
and we would kind of go off the rails,
off the rails.
But she would bring us back in, because she's a little more heady than some of us.
Yeah. For all.
I feel like sometimes our shows could use that person.
I think so. Yeah. I'm waiting for you to get your PhD, Todd. That's what. I'm not getting it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
One degree was enough. You got your master's.
It was either the PhD or the podcaster, and so we chose the podcaster.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, the PDC. I think that's
going to get you far in life, Kase.
I know. Yeah, Kase Johnstun, PDC.
Yeah. So have you thought about going to get your PhD because it feels like you're left out now, or
no?
Okay.
No,
because it doesn't. How much does it help you with writing? Because we just had an author on your podcast, and he doesn't even have his master's. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, and the truth is that with the MFA, I can teach all the way through graduate school already, so I don't need the PhD.
Okay.
So they have the PhD, but I have more.
Is that
books.
just a pay raise?
I have more books.
It's a competition.
It's huge competition.
Yeah.
They're my friends though, so.
No, I know, but when you have a few beers, how bad does it get? You guys razz each other, like who's got more published books and more published whatevers, and.
There are some people. Yeah. So this is
who's got the thickest book. That's what they.
The thickest. Doesn't go by thickness.
No, we go by awards.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Most prestigious.
Who's got awards? Who's been recognized? Yeah, we do that. No, most of the time it's super really cool and super supportive, especially among friends. But there are some people that always enter the conversation, and they're always trying to make it about who wins. And first off, I'm usually with Sean, and that never goes over well.
Why? Is because he speaks his mind.
Yeah, he's like, no one cares. No one cares. Just, like, why are you telling all this? Yeah, nobody cares.
He says, "Hold my drink."
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
he's been blown up in war. He doesn't care
about. Yeah, he's just like whatever. Yeah. So, but no, most of the time it's really because you surround yourself by the supportive people, the people that are kind of not that way. You
do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I do. Yeah. If I can't hang out with people like that though.
Right.
I just can't.
All right. So we're assuming that all of our listeners for the Ogden Arts and Adventure all listen to Literally, which is another Banyan podcast produced by the Banyan Collective. And so you've been doing Literally for how long now?
7 years.
I mean, at least 6. So
at least 6
to 7 years. And we
were in my house in Polk, and we moved out of there in 2000. We started there.
Well, we started at the bookstore.
We started at the bookstore. Yeah.
What was the name of the bookstore?
That was 2016, so it's got to be. We didn't move to Mohawk, where we did a few, until 2016, so it's got to be coming on 7.
Yeah.
Well, that's impressive. Okay, so what was the spark for that? Why did you want to start a podcast? Do you remember?
It was all Ogden based at the beginning.
Yeah.
I only wanted to right, Brandon? I think we only wanted to interview Ogden.
Well, that's where we started.
Yeah.
So you were on the arts committee with
right.
And you weren't on it yet, right, Todd?
I feel like I've been on it for a long time, but I have.
Yeah.
You were right before me. Yes.
Todd was
before me.
Todd was right after Kase, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But then in Kase somehow, because I tell everyone what I do, I podcast. But I think you approached me.
Yeah, I said let's do this.
Yeah, and I was like, let's.
We wanted to start with Ogden, just Ogden.
Promote Ogden authors because at the time. And probably still, I mean, Deanne does what she can, but there's just no promotion.
No.
I mean, Kase can publish a book and nobody knows.
Yeah.
I don't tell people. It's crazy. Yeah. And I mean, the Standard doesn't pick, Ogden, Deanne will pick it up, but really Standard, nobody promotes. Like, I bet the same thing happens to musicians too. They could put out a record or something on a label that gets picked up, maybe a Nashville record, and nobody really knows.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of so Kase
was the goal.
Kase wanted to highlight local authors.
Yeah. Then we ran out of them. And so we had to
check them all off.
Yeah, we mostly did, and then started moving out. We've interviewed writers from China.
International. Yeah, the China one was awesome.
China. Where was the Handsome Devil from?
You've had a couple of them.
Yeah, it's true. The Handsome Devil.
Was it Arizona?
No, he was from Taiwan. He's in Taiwan or something. High school teacher in Taiwan.
Are you saying handsome?
Handsome.
Very handsome.
He looked like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they doing writing with?
I don't know. Maybe he's acting sex. but all over.
Yeah.
All over. Yeah.
So where do you source your guests?
Now they come to me. So I just kind of usually, this weekend I talked to a few people and I'm like, let's do this.
Well, I really like because it's morphed into, and it's sort of what this podcast is morphed into too, especially on the last one where we had Cole on talking about hacks on how to become an artist, And so what Kase's Literally podcast does, turning into a commercial for Kase's podcast, what his podcast does though is
this is Kase's section of the podcast.
This is his section, yeah.
I should do my intro.
You should do your intro. It gives people a behind the scenes of, it's kind of raw and gritty look at the publishing lifestyle.
Yeah, we don't pull punches.
No. And it's not always, it's never glamorous. It's pretty rough, And so, but it does give you, if you want to be a writer, you want to do that for a living, listen to the Literally podcast, download some episodes, because these are real stories from real authors, and you get an idea of what they go through to publish stuff and to try and make a living, and it's fascinating.
Well, and it blows your mind.
Yeah,
it's like Adrian Todd Zuniga, literary deathmatch guy. He's famous all over the world. Has had Neil Gaiman on his show, and he's had these actors on the show. It took him 10 years to publish his book. You'd think that he would have this inward track, and it just doesn't. It doesn't happen that way.
These people are like, it's so funny because the first time I heard it, I'm like, holy crap. They're like, oh yeah, I published this novel, and in Kase is like, yeah, okay, well, how long? It's like, yeah, been working on about 10 years, and like, yeah, that's about normal. I'm like, that's normal?
It's normal.
10 years is normal?
Yeah, and we've had upwards of much longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's fun. Take a listen.
It is fun though. It's fascinating. And then now they're so different too. The authors are so, that's just it, is you can please chase your own thing, whatever it is that ignites that spark, because they're so different across the board and they make it work because they're different, I think.
Yeah. And Renaissance Cases forgot to ask 5 out of 6 authors to even read their stuff.
So they're supposed to read a section of the book.
That's what we did for like 6 years.
New Case, Renaissance Case, keeps forgetting to ask them to read.
The Renaissance Case just doesn't care. We just go in. And like,
sounds like a book club.
Yeah. Comes in, it's like, what's going on? I don't know. So,
okay. Well, what have you learned? Have you learned anything from the podcast? Have you left the podcast thinking like, okay, I got to do this better.
Enough to run panel discussions about it.
Right. Yeah.
That there are a lot of really, really talented writers out there who are publishing with traditional publishers that will probably never make a living doing it. Yeah. And they're really, really good. And they're better than a lot of the famous ones.
Well, I think, is that like...
talent-wise, they're better.
But sure. But I compare that to like Madonna. I mean, these singers that are just okay. They're good singers, but they're not great singers.
Yeah.
But they have a story to tell. They've got this persona. They just set themselves apart in some way. It's marketing, so but they can somehow, whatever their niche is, they can sell the niche and they find success.
Yeah.
What's your niche?
My niche?
Yeah.
I haven't found it yet. I mean, I'm successful in a lot of ways, but it's not monetarily.
You have multiple published books.
Multiple.
This is what blows my mind, Todd, because I'm like, oh, you're a full-time author. No, he's teaching full-time still.
Right.
Yeah, and that's pretty common.
And, well, I can certainly understand and relate as far as, artist goes. There's a lot that, in my circle, my world, a lot of them taught, because I worked at Weber for a long time. And
and you're in academia, so.
Yeah, exactly. And so that sort of does lead to, and to some degree required to paint, draw, practice. Mm-hmm. I assume that's the case with many professors too. Like you simply do have to write a certain amount.
Yeah.
Or publish, I guess is the key word.
Right.
Probably more than anything.
And we found too that a lot of people are doing other jobs.
This is what I was going to ask too, is the fact that because you've now had so many, what episode are you up to? Do you know off the top of your head?
55 or something.
I'll look it up. Let me look it up.
So many that are just bankers or not bankers.
Yeah, I was wondering if you've started to see a trend. If that's a question that
lot
comes
less
up.
Teachers are on the show. Wouldn't you say a lot less academics are on the show?
Well, tell me the guy's name from Wyoming again, or Montana, I mean.
Oh, Craig.
Craig, what is this? A construction worker? Like in
he was
plumbing
a pipe runner for a long time, making sure that those pipes weren't breaking down. So they'd run these things through them. They'd have to check them at each spot. Really pretty crazy stuff. But then he was a writer at The Athletic for a little while, and then he moved. But it's like a lot of people are just doing. He made money enough to. It was about 3 years. I'm gonna have to sneeze. About 3 years that he was able to live off it, and then he had to go to work, and he just found the work that pipe layers did fascinating.
Yeah.
So he just decided to go do that.
Oh, so you learned that after the fact.
After,
he was able to live on his writing for a while. Then he's like, that sounds interesting. And it's something where like they go in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night and it's freezing, and they have to put something in.
Craig Lancaster.
Craig Lancaster. Put it in the pipe, and they have to make sure that they mark it every like 24 miles. I don't know. It's pretty darn cool. So he wrote a whole book about it. The won the High Plains Book Award, which I took second.
Yeah, he did. Case took second.
Yeah.
That was
because he had a cooler day job. I mean, your day job is great, but that's a cool day job.
That's a really cool day job.
That's a good point, Todd. Maybe Case needs to find a different day job than teaching.
Yeah. Oh,
it would be in addition to. I would keep the teaching.
No, I don't know.
You're like, no, I'm good.
I think I'm done.
Yeah.
So he's up to 61 episodes.
61.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
And I have to read all. I have to read all those books. Mostly.
He reads every single one all the way through.
Sometimes I wonder, because it is interesting when I see an interviewer talk to an author about a project, right? A book or something. And so obviously it depends on the format of the show, how long you're going to talk to the author, how much you're actually going to read of the the book that they're promoting or whatever it is, So how much are you able to read?
I read most of them.
Yeah,
all the way through because my questions are pretty serious.
Yeah,
like, and I've had so many people like say
you fake your way through only so much.
Right, I've had so many people say I've had interviews where I knew they didn't read my book.
Oh yeah,
and I'm
okay.
I read most.
Do you
of
tease them when that happens? Do you like you trip them up, make them look dumb, or do you just kind of roll with it?
No, I mean,
torn. I would want to.
No,
like if someone's interviewing you.
Interviewing me?
Yeah.
And they haven't read your book.
Oh, that happened. It's happened. Oh, yeah.
And you've teased them about it?
I just move through.
Yeah, okay.
You give summary and you're like, you know what, that one part, and you make them nod their head and you're like, okay, yeah, we're in. I'll just keep talking. Yeah, that happens. That happens.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. But it does set you apart as your, as your own podcast host.
So 61 books, most of them. There's been a few that I started and I couldn't really do it, or just life got busy or something. Sure.
But we do a good job when Kase is like, oh my gosh, I was close, but I didn't quite finish this one, and then we go off the rails on something.
I'll be like
we'll find something in the story or in the process or in the author's life that just
well, I'll say always something like, I don't want to tell the end because I don't know it. No one wants to know the end, right? We don't want to give any like spoilers, do we?
No.
How far should we go? How about chapter 20? Let's cut it off there because after that, I think it's too much of a spoiler. And I read to chapter 19.
Chapter 20, for instance,
Just for instance, maybe we should. After that, it gets too into the weeds.
Okay, well, we do have to ask you the two questions.
Yeah.
Like, what's coming up with the podcast, and what are you working on personally that we need to know about?
Podcast, we're just keep doing it. I love Renaissance Case. It's been about a year since we started Renaissance Case.
I effing love Renaissance Case. He's my favorite.
Yeah, and it all actually happened because we had my first Renaissance Case after my dad passed last year, and I came in just a little loaded, and hadn't read the book. And we just went for it. And so it's kind of we've stuck with Renaissance Case. The drinking hasn't been there, but the format has.
Free flow
interviewing. What am I working on? I have a new book coming out in April 2024. My agent has a book. I can do this not on literally because nobody talks about it. Because you're not supposed to talk about being on submission when you're on submission.
Oh, understood.
Is this like you're hexing your future?
No, you're just not supposed to let editors know that. It's kind of weird. Like editors don't you don't want an editor to go, oh, he's talking about he's on submission and I actually have his submission. It's a weird thing.
Because you don't want it to taint what they're
right. Doing. Yeah. So I have a book on submission. Started another one, not the Uptown Bar.
Oh my God! Tell Todd. I absolutely. No one wants this book.
No one wants this book.
No one wants this book, and it's. You know what it is? It's too brilliant.
It's too good. Maybe someday when I'm famous, somebody will just say yes to it. But I got to get home and get my son some dinner. But this, in a nutshell, this is called the Uptown Bar, and it's like a city and like a town in like Kansas, but it's like one of those towns that. Right now, if you go to Kansas, most of the town squares are dead because everybody moved to or shops at the one town 15 miles away that has the Walmart. And that's the only town that's thriving. Everything else is boarded up. So I had this idea of having this murder mystery about this bar called the Uptown Bar. And it's the only bar left in that one little town. But somebody opened a bar right next door called the Uptown Bar. And so that guy gets murdered, and it's a whole mystery about why somebody murdered the Uptown Bar owner. So, I think it's brilliant, but
I love it so much. I don't even know why.
I sent my agent 5,000 words of 3 different starts to books. She didn't pick it. Brandon knows this. She didn't pick it. She was like, yeah, maybe we'll hold off on that.
We're going to self-publish that one.
That's going to be the greatest thing ever. Published book.
Yeah, Banyan published.
The Uptown Bar. Anyway.
God, that's fantastic. All right. Well, we got to sort of start wrapping because Kase has places to go. And Zeke's out there just throwing fish. So we'll figure that.
Yeah.
Todd, do you have anything for the arts or arts updates?
Just one quick reminder. This ties into the day job that I have. And so as the visual arts coordinator for the Salt Lake Arts Council, I do have one really big call for entries for artists That will be available March 20th through April 20th. And so it's for the exhibition calendar at Finch Lane Gallery, which I run for the 2024 year. And so that'll be online on Monday the 20th. So do look for that. The requirement is a Utah artist. And so Ogdenites absolutely apply. So that's a really good place to show. And we do have a brand new show that's opening Friday, this coming Friday night, which Salt Lake's Art Stroll is every third Friday. And so it'll be in line with that.
Yeah, you don't have to miss Ogden's or something.
First Friday.
You can go to both.
Ogden's first Friday, yeah. So come say hi down at Finch Lane Gallery this Friday, the 17th. And
that's what you
get
do.
a drink beforehand, and then you come say hi to me. Yeah.
That's awesome. I had the privilege this weekend of working the powder keg up at Solitude and then Brighton and then Solitude. But Sunday was the sprint race. And if you don't know what SKIMO is, it stands for ski mountaineering. They ski up and then they sometimes boot pack and then they ski down. They literally skip. But the sprint race is the format that will be in the Torino Olympics in 2026. And this was the national championships on Sunday. And so the people that are racing on Sunday have dreams of trying to make the Olympic team. And what I learned was, if you ever watch speed climbing in the Olympics, have you ever seen it?
No.
Okay. So speed climbing in the Olympics,
really fast.
It's super fast. But did you know that the course on every single one of those is exactly the same? The handholds and everything are exactly the same because it's an Olympic sport. And so really it's only based off how fast an athlete can climb that exact same route every single time. And so the sprint race is these athletes finished it under 5 minutes. Like it's a sprint. Okay. And they start out and they skin up and then they have these like diamonds that are just sort of mapped out on, it has to be a certain amount of vertical. And then the diamonds separate the skiers. So they go in heats of 6 and then they start going and then they pick a side, right? And then they got to ski around the diamonds and around the diamonds. And then they hit what's called a boot pack section. They have to take their skis off, put the skis on their backpacks, run up the mountain, and then they have to put their skis back on, skin to the top to where they then turn around and head back down. On the downside is a slalom course with a jump in the middle. So they have to, and they're on these tiny, skinny skimo skis. So they have to be able to navigate the slalom course and the jump and the turn at the bottom, and it's all timed. And that's the sprint race that we will be able to watch in Torino, Italy in 2026 on the Olympics. It's going to be, and so this last Sunday, I was announcing the sprint race along with like the individual and the vertical, but the sprint race was amazing to watch these athletes. They are some of the most fit athletes. And there's kids divisions, U16 kids, U18 kids, because these kids are going to be our next Olympians, and they're from Park City and they're from Salt Lake, and hopefully we can get some kids from Ogden involved in this. But the Salt Lake Park City crowd are really heavily into it.
But there's no marksmanship section yet.
No, they're not shooting anything yet. Okay. No, not yet. It's just ski up as fast as you can. Yeah.
As the sport evolves, perhaps
there might be. Also, I wanted to let everyone know that in prelude to April 7th International Beaver Day, there was a person who recorded, and all I can do is just, you'll just hear the music. Well, actually, I can't even play it because the music is... But you can go on to unofficial networks and find it. Recorded a quick clip of a beaver, which is the second largest living rodent, riding a piece of ice down a river. He's surfing a piece of ice down a river. Nature photographer Nick Solzer. He sees a lot of stuff in the field, but this is one of the most memorable. And it's on Instagram under...
So he captured that video and then he just retired.
And then
it's like, I am never going to do better than this.
Yeah, he put it to the surfing music.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, put it to the little Beach Boys music. But it is a beaver in the middle of a snowstorm, and the river's not quite frozen over, but there's a piece of ice, and the beaver's just chilling on the piece of ice, and the piece of ice is just cruising down the river, surfing the river.
How can you beat a paddle surfing?
Paddle surfing beaver.
Oh, that's so brilliant. I'm glad you found that. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, God, that's fantastic. Okay. Thank you, Bandy Newman, for powering today's episode of the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. Thanks, Heather and Zeke, for coming today.
Thank you.
He's busy throwing fish, so he's not He's not showing up. Kase, thanks for hanging out with us. Man,
yes, always. Yep.
Appreciate everything you do with Literally. I think it's amazing. Listen and subscribe to Ogden Arts and Adventure on YouTube. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, thebandingcollective.com, the Podbean app for Android and iPhones. If you want to be on the show, you can DM us on Instagram at Ogden Adventure. This week's outdoor jukebox is called, this is a hoot, is American Spirit. Did you watch this one, Todd? This is fantastic.
I don't know if I did.
American Spirit. This is Congo and Co. On Van Sessions. We'll catch you on the next Ogden Arts and Adventure Show.
All right. Don't smoke. American Spirit cigarette lasted me the whole trip to North Ogden, just a few minutes away from here. And every time I'm getting fresh air, I'm smoking. Yeah, I'm smoking. What's the price of freedom? Sunset, stick to your guns. Slave toss the pay fuck lawyer on. The market rates, the base income, come on, take the money and run. The nation state has bugged out everyone. Crack another joke, light another smoke, cause the only spirit I have left is the name on my cigarette. An American Spirit cigarette lasted me the whole trip to North Ogden. No way up there! American Spirit cigarette burns my palate and fever dead. Seems that I've no money left. Sure as them old odds is fucking. An American Spirit cigarette lasted me the whole trip to North Ogden. Every time I'm getting fresh air, I'm smoking. Yes, I am. Yeah, yeah. Thing to say. And Jeff Bezos will have hell to pay when Jesus comes on Judgment Day and takes all of his money away. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sure as the old does his pocket. An American Spirit cigarette lasted me the whole trip to North Ogden. Every time I'm getting fresh air, I'm smoking an American Spirit cigarette.
Oh, so good. Congo and Co. Don't smoke, kids.